Welcome back to the Professor Insight podcast, the space where we explore the intersection of artificial intelligence, neuroscience, and emerging technology, and turn it into something practical for your business, your strategy, and your everyday thinking. I'm your host, Professor Billy. As always, a quick note before we begin. This podcast is fully powered by AI tools, from content creation to script writing and voice generation. And yes, what you're hearing right now is a voice clone of me, brought to life with full human oversight and manual curation. Now, what does the world really think about artificial intelligence? Not just the tech insiders, not just the headlines, but everyday people in workplaces, classrooms, and homes across 47 countries. Who trusts it? Who uses it? And what happens when adoption moves faster than understanding? That's exactly what a major new report from the University of Melbourne and KPMG set out to uncover. It's called Trust, Attitudes and Use of Artificial Intelligence, a global study, 2025, and it's based on the views of more than 48,000 people worldwide. This is the fourth time the research team has run this study, and the timing could not be better. 2 years after the launch of ChatGPT sparked the AI boom, we now have a clearer and more sobering picture of where trust is growing, where it's falling, and how AI is actually being used in real life. AI is now woven into everyday life. It can help detect cancer earlier, optimize renewable energy systems, and draft your next presentation before you've finished your coffee. But alongside the benefits, the concerns are getting louder, from job loss and misinformation to privacy breaches and over-reliance. And here's the tension. Adoption is skyrocketing, yet AI literacy, governance, and regulation are still playing catch-up. This study doesn't just track who's using AI, it digs into how they're using it, what they think about it, and what they expect from the governments, institutions, and companies that are building and deploying it. In this episode, we'll explore why emerging economies are leading the way in AI trust and adoption, and why advanced economies are becoming more skeptical. We'll talk about the gap between how technically capable people believe AI is and how safe or ethical they think it is. We'll look at what's really happening in workplaces, from performance gains to policy breaches, and in education, where benefits are clear but over-reliance is already reshaping how students learn. And we'll unpack the overwhelming public call for stronger AI regulation, especially to tackle misinformation. Let's dive into the numbers, the patterns, and the human stories behind them, and see what they tell us about the next stage of our collaboration with AI.
Today, we're plunging into something that has, utterly transformed our lives almost in a blink. Artificial intelligence.
It really feels like that, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Remember late 2022? It felt like one day AI was sort of futuristic, and the next, boom, ChatGPT, that's a system that can create new content like text and images. It just burst onto the scene.
And the speed of adoption was, frankly, staggering. OpenAI's tools getting over 100 million users in, just 2 months?
Exactly. That's not just fast. It's an unprecedented explosion of accessibility. It's everywhere now.
It really is. And in this deep dive, we're aiming to go beyond just the headlines. We want to explore something really comprehensive, people's trust, how they're actually using AI daily, and their attitudes towards it right across the globe.
Yeah, and we've got some solid ground to stand on here. We're talking about insights drawn from a massive study over 48,000 people spanning 47 countries. It's huge.
It gives us a really broad perspective.
Our mission here is to unpack the current state of AI adoption. How people truly understand it or maybe don't, the benefits they're seeing, and crucially, the risks, the stuff that worries people.
And there are definitely worries alongside the excitement.
For sure. You're going to discover some surprising facts, I think, and key insights that go far beyond what you might skim in a news summary. It's about helping you understand what this all means for you in society, at work, even in education.
It's your direct path to hopefully genuinely grasping the AI revolution that's happening right now.
So that explosive growth we just mentioned, it leads us straight into what the study really powerfully labels the AI paradox. It's this idea of widespread use, but also widespread worry. Despite AI often feeling like it's still, evolving and new, it's undeniably part of our everyday lives already. The study shows a remarkable 2 in 3 people, that 66%, intentionally use AI regularly for personal stuff, work, study.
And it's not just occasional use either. Looking closer, 2 in 5, so 38%, are tapping into it weekly or even daily. That's pretty embedded.
It really is.
Yeah.
What stands out to you there just about the sheer scale of that adoption?
Well, it's astounding, isn't it? It suggests AI has crossed that chasm from being a niche tech thing to a mainstream utility incredibly quickly.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets really interesting and honestly a bit concerning. Despite that huge adoption rate, there's this significant knowledge gap.
Okay.
Most people, 61% to be exact, have had no formal AI training, none at all. And about half, 48%, admit they have limited knowledge about AI.
Wow, okay. So lots of use, not much training.
Exactly. But at the same time, 3 in 5, so 60%, believe they can use AI effectively.
So there's a confidence there, even without the background.
Precisely. It raises this fascinating question, doesn't it? If people are jumping into the AI pool without much training, what are the practical implications of that perceived capability versus their actual understanding? Is accessibility maybe breeding a bit of complacency?
That's a critical point, this perceived capability versus actual understanding. And when we look at trust, well, it seems to be on shaky ground. Well, a lot of people, 72% globally, accept the use of AI in principle.
Which is high acceptance.
Right, it is. But over half, 54%, are genuinely wary about trusting AI systems. It's more than just a casual concern.
So acceptance isn't the same as trust.
Not at all. People are clearly more skeptical of AI's safety, its security, its broader societal impact. Only 52% trust those aspects than they are of its technical ability to just, provide helpful output. 55% trust that part.
Okay, so they trust it to do the task, but not necessarily trust its overall impact or safety?
Exactly. So this isn't just a technical challenge, is it? It feels deeply emotional. There's this ambivalence.
Precisely. It explains that feeling many people have being both optimistic and worried about AI, often at the same time. And this isn't static. The study shows a clear trend.
Okay, what's the trend?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, trust in AI systems actually declined. It went from 63% back in 2022 down to 56% in 2024.
Declined, even with more use.
Yes, and during that same period, worry increased quite sharply, from 49% up to 62%.
Wow. So more use, less trust, more worry.
It really looks like a public recalibration. The initial sort of AI honeymoon phase seems to be over. It's being replaced by a growing skepticism as people get more real-world exposure, confronting its capabilities and its limitations head-on.
That growing skepticism, that recalibration, it certainly brings us to a really fascinating global divide in how people see AI. This complex picture of trust and concern, it isn't the same everywhere, is it?
Not at all. In fact, the study reveals a pretty stark contrast between advanced and emerging economies.
How so?
Well, people in emerging economies report significantly higher regular AI use. We're talking 80% compared to just 58% in advanced economies.
80%, that's huge.
It is. And they also report having more AI training, 50% versus 32%, greater knowledge, 64% versus 46%, and higher self-reported efficacy, like feeling they can use it, 74% versus 51%.
So across the board, more use, more training, more knowledge, more confidence in emerging economies.
That's right. And this higher engagement and understanding translates directly into greater trust and acceptance. 3 in 5 people in these emerging economies trust AI systems compared to only 2 in 5 in advanced economies.
Or 2 in 5. That's quite low in advanced economies.
It is. And we see specific countries like India, China, Nigeria, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Egypt. They consistently show really high levels of AI use, trust, and literacy.
Okay, this raises a really important question then. Why? Why such a profound difference? What's driving this divide in perception and adoption?
It's a great question, and it seems to highlight the increasingly important role that these transformative technologies play in the economic development of emerging countries. Well, think about it. AI can potentially fill critical resource gaps. It can provide maybe greater relative opportunities in these regions compared to places where infrastructure is already very developed.
Okay. So it's seen perhaps as more of a leapfrog technology.
Potentially, yes. For many, AI isn't just another efficiency tool. It could be seen as a pathway to development, to progress. And that naturally might drive both higher adoption and a generally more optimistic outlook compared to, say, more established economies where the relative gain might feel smaller or the risks seem more immediate.
That makes a lot of sense, framing it as almost a foundational development tool in some context. Okay, so let's pivot a bit and talk about the AI scales balancing the benefits versus the risks.
The classic way up.
Exactly. And the data is clear. People are experiencing both sides. Significant positive outcomes, but also notable negative ones. 3 and 4, 73%, report experiencing benefits. Things like improved efficiency, better accessibility, maybe sparking innovation.
So mainly performance-oriented gains, helping people get things done.
Seems like it. Helping them do things better, faster?
But the flip side is equally significant. Almost 4 in 5 people, 79%, are concerned about a broad range of risks.
4 and 5 is a lot of concern. It is. And it's not just abstract concern. A substantial chunk, 2 in 5 or 43%, have personally experienced or observed negative outcomes from AI.
Okay, so it's tangible for many people. What are the top worries?
Top of the list. Cybersecurity risks, 85% are concerned about that, followed very closely by the loss of human interaction and connection at 83%. And right up there, too, is misinformation or disinformation, 82%.
Those are fundamental concerns. Security, human connection, truth.
Absolutely. And while they're maybe less commonly reported, concerns about bias in AI systems and even the environmental impact are still significant worries for about a third of people. It's a wide spectrum.
It really is.
So with this complex mix of perceived benefits and widespread concerns, you end up with pretty divided opinions globally.
How divided?
Well, 42% believe the benefits outweigh the risks, 32% believe the risks actually outweigh the benefits, and about 26% see it as roughly balanced.
So more people lean towards benefits, but it's far from a consensus.
Exactly. And what's particularly interesting is how this opinion shifts in those advanced economies we talked about. There, 37%, more than a third, actually believe the risks outweigh the benefits.
So that skepticism we mentioned earlier is really showing up in how they weigh the pros and cons.
Very much so. It seems that recalibration is definitely in play there.
And on that critical issue of misinformation, you mentioned that 82% concern. There's a clear public mandate emerging, right?
Oh, absolutely clear. A striking 87% of respondents want laws specifically to combat AI-generated misinformation.
87%. That's almost universal demand.
It is. And they expect social media platforms, media companies to implement stronger fact-checking, maybe methods like watermarking, to detect AI-generated content. They want action.
And you can understand why. The study found, 70% of people are unsure if online content can even be trusted anymore?
Exactly. And 64%, nearly two-thirds, worry specifically about manipulated elections because of AI. That's a huge societal risk perception.
Yeah, deep-seated worries.
So with all these concerns swirling, it's maybe not surprising that when we look at the regulatory side of things, well, there's a strong public mandate for AI regulation.
People want guardrails.
Definitely. A solid 70% believe regulation is necessary globally. This isn't some niche technical concern. It's a broad societal expectation.
But are the current laws seen as up to the job?
Apparently not. Only 2 in 5, 43%, believe existing laws are adequate, which is not a great vote of confidence.
No. And isn't there also an awareness issue?
A massive one. A significant 83% are completely unaware of any existing laws or policies governing AI in their own country.
83% unaware. That's a huge gap between wanting rules and knowing if any exist.
It's a stark disconnect. So if most people aren't even aware of regulations, who do they actually expect to step in and, set these guardrails? Who should be doing the regulating?
Well, people seem to expect a multi-pronged approach. It's not just one group. 76% support international laws and regulation.
Okay, global cooperation.
Yes. And 69% want their own national governments to regulate. But interestingly, 71% also support co-regulation with industry.
So government lead, but industry has a role too.
That seems to be the expectation. Government taking a central role, certainly, but with industry involvement to help shape effective, practical guardrails. It's not just top-down.
When it comes to actually building trust, moving beyond just acceptance, organizations seem to have a clear path they can follow.
Yes, the study found something really encouraging there. 83% of people said they would be more willing to trust an AI system if certain assurance mechanisms are in place.
Assurance mechanisms?
Yeah.
What does that mean in practice? Like what kinds of things?
It means demonstrating trustworthiness, not just sort of claiming it. This includes things like actively monitoring system reliability.
Okay, making sure it works reliably.
Ensuring there's clear human oversight and accountability in AI decisions.
So a human is ultimately responsible.
Right. Having clear, responsible AI policies that are actually followed. And crucially, independent third-party assurance, like an external check.
Like getting audited for responsibility?
Kind of, yeah. These are tangible steps organizations can take to actually bridge that trust gap we've been talking about. It's about proof, not just promises.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Now let's get down to where AI is really hitting the ground running, at work and in our studies. This is where the rubber meets the road for many people.
Absolutely. The age of working with AI is definitely here, no question.
The data says 3 in 5 employees, 58%, intentionally use AI at work regularly, and a third are using it weekly. That's significant integration.
It is. And what's truly eye-opening is how they're using it. Most employees, 73%, are using those free, publicly available generative AI tools like ChatGPT.
Not necessarily the tools their employer might provide or approve.
Exactly. They're often using tools outside of the company's official systems, which leads us to unpack what we're calling the shadow AI problem.
Shadow AI sounds ominous. What is it?
It's basically when employees use unapproved, often public AI tools for company tasks, frequently without their employer's knowledge or explicit consent, and the study shows it's really widespread.
How widespread, and what are the risks there?
Well, almost half, 48%, admit to uploading sensitive company information into these public AI tools.
Sensitive info, like what?
Things like financial data, customer information, stuff that often directly contravenes company policies on data security.
Wow. That sounds like a massive security risk.
It absolutely is, and it gets more concerning. 2 in 3 employees, 66%, report relying on AI output without critical evaluation, just taking it at face value.
So no fact-checking, no sense-checking.
Apparently not consistently, and maybe unsurprisingly then, over half, 56%, admit they have actually made mistakes at work because of relying on AI like this.
56% have made mistakes due to AI.
Yeah.
That's a staggering figure, especially in a professional setting.
It really is, and these aren't always glaring, catastrophic errors, perhaps. Sometimes it might be subtle inaccuracies, missed nuances, but they can accumulate and erode quality or lead to poor decisions over time.
You have to wonder about the real-world consequences, maybe financial, reputational, stemming from this kind of over-reliance and lack of checking.
Exactly. And to make governance even harder, 57% of employees using these tools avoid revealing their AI use. They keep it quiet.
So it's non-transparent, hidden use.
Yeah.
It makes it incredibly difficult for companies to manage the risks, right?
Absolutely. How can you manage what you don't even know is happening? So while employees are reporting performance benefits, they say it increases efficiency, helps generate ideas.
The upside is there for them.
Yes, but AI also seems to have some mixed impacts on the workplace beyond just individual performance.
Like what?
Well, things like workload, stress levels. It's not always reduced. And even human collaboration, 1 in 5 employees actually report reduced communication with colleagues because of AI use.
Oh, interesting. So it could potentially isolate people.
That's a concern. And there's also a noted increase in monitoring and surveillance in some workplaces related to AI, which, inevitably changes the dynamics and the employee experience.
Despite all that usage, though, when it comes to actual managerial decision-making, where do employees stand? Do they want AI taking over?
Not really. Most employees clearly prefer human oversight. Nearly half, 45%, favor a split, something like 75% human judgment, 25% AI input.
So AI is an assistant, not the boss.
Pretty much. They seem to prefer AI assisting rather than dominating or replacing human judgment in those really critical areas.
And that preference for human oversight, does it extend to students, too? How are they engaging with AI?
Well, students, we're talking predominantly tertiary or university students here, they're even more engaged with AI. 4 in 5, 83% regularly use it in their studies.
4 in 5, even higher than in the workplace.
Significantly higher. And they report similar benefits, increased efficiency,
Right.
maybe more personalized learning experiences, even reduced workload.
Okay, but this raises a really important question, doesn't it? What are the long-term implications for things like critical thinking? Is there complacency there, too?
That's the big concern. The study suggests student complacent use is also widespread. 2/3 are not transparent about their AI use with their instructors.
So similar to the workplace shadow AI.
Very similar. And over 3/4 have felt unable to complete academic work without AI or admit they rely on it instead of actually learning the tasks themselves.
Relying on it instead of learning. That's worrying for education.
It is. And perhaps most strikingly, 81% of students say they put less effort into their studies knowing they can fall back on AI.
81% put in less effort. Just think about the potential long-term ripple effects of that. Are we, as a society, kind of inadvertently trading critical thinking skills and genuine learning for short-term efficiency and convenience?
That's a profound question. And the study doesn't offer easy answers, but it certainly throws that risk into sharp relief. And it's compounded by the fact that both employees and students seem to be facing lagging support from their institutions.
How so? What support is missing?
Well, only half of employees in those advanced economies report their organization actually offers training in responsible AI use or even has clear policies.
Only half, despite that high usage.
Right, and similarly, only half of the students report their education provider, their university or college, has clear policies or provides resources for responsible AI use.
Wow. So there's this huge adoption wave happening, but the guidance, the training, the policies, they're lagging way behind.
Exactly. That gap between widespread adoption and the lack of proper guidance and support is incredibly significant and potentially risky.
So as we look at the path forward from here, how can organizations, institutions, society at large, how can we build that crucial trust in AI, given everything we've discussed? What did the study identify as the key drivers?
Okay, so the study identified 4 essential pathways to building trusted AI adoption. Think of them as pillars.
Okay, what are they?
First is knowledge. Basically, AI literacy, which includes understanding AI, feeling effective using it, efficacy, and having actual training demonstrably enhances trust. Knowing more helps build trust.
Makes sense. Knowledge reduces fear.
Second is motivational. This is about the perceived benefits. If people see positive outcomes and clear advantages to using AI, that strongly influences their trust. They need to see the why.
So show the value proposition.
Exactly. Third is uncertainty reduction. This means actively addressing those concerns about risks and negative outcomes we talked about. You have to tackle the worries head on.
Don't ignore the downsides.
Right. And finally, fourth is institutional. This covers things like having adequate safeguards, clear regulation, and general confidence in the entities involved, like governments, companies, universities. And interestingly,
Yes.
this institutional pathway, having trustworthy institutions and rules, was actually found to be the strongest driver of trust overall, followed by the motivational pathway, seeing the benefits.
Interesting. So reliable rules and seeing the upside are the biggest trust builders.
That's what the data suggests.
The study also seems to reveal a kind of demographic divide within this trust landscape, doesn't it?
It does. It found that younger people, those with higher incomes, people who are university educated, and those who've actually had AI training, they tend to show higher AI literacy, higher use, more trust, and see more benefits.
Okay, so they're more engaged and trusting.
Yes, but here's the flip side. They are also more likely to engage in that complacent AI use we discussed, like using it without checking or over-relying on it.
Ah, so the most engaged might also be the ones taking the biggest shortcuts.
It seems that way. And this highlights a potential AI divide, not just in access, but in responsible use. Those less equipped may be older individuals. Those with lower incomes or less education might be left behind or be more vulnerable, while the more engaged group might be using it less carefully. That's a serious consideration for policymakers and educators.
Definitely. A divide in responsible usage is a tricky problem.
Indeed. And if we zoom out again, that overall trend we saw increased adoption, but declining trust and increased worry, it doesn't necessarily mean people are rejecting AI outright.
No. What does it mean then?
It suggests more of that public recalibration of expectations. We're collectively moving past the initial hype, the sort of AI will solve everything phase,
Like the honeymoon period.
and settling into a more realistic assessment of AI's actual capabilities and its limitations. And this really underscores the urgent need for reassurance on trustworthy deployment. If that doesn't happen, that gap between high use and low trust is just going to widen.
So bringing this all together, what does this really mean for you, our listener? What's the key takeaway?
Well, it means that while AI undeniably offers immense opportunities for productivity, for innovation, for maybe even solving big problems,
Huge potential.
huge potential, but its responsible integration into society, into our work, into education, it requires a collective, coordinated effort. It's not automatic.
It's not just about the technology itself then.
Not at all. It's fundamentally about safeguarding things like human connection, critical thinking skills, and ensuring fair, transparent use for everyone. It's about managing the human and societal side just as much as the technical side.
This deep dive really shows us, I think, that we were truly at a critical juncture. We're standing right where the undeniable benefits of AI meet these deep growing concerns about its risks and how we use it responsibly.
Yeah, that tension is palpable. The tension between wanting to accelerate innovation, grab those benefits, and at the same time needing to implement robust guardrails to manage the downsides. That feels like the defining challenge of our time with AI.
It really does.
And maybe a final thought to leave with everyone. As AI becomes even more deeply embedded in our lives, and how will we collectively ensure that our pursuit of efficiency and innovation doesn't inadvertently erode the very human skills, the connections, the critical thought that actually make our societies thrive?
That's a powerful question. What can people do?
Well, maybe ask yourself, what proactive steps can you as an individual take? Not just to harness AI's power for yourself, but also to be a voice, a champion for its responsible use in your workplace, your community, your own learning. It requires active participation, not just passive acceptance.